Uh, I was so you have delivered like five TEDx speech. I have watching one of the TEDx talk where you mentioned that like whenever you connect with someone, whenever you talk with someone, the person before you like always open up, always welcome you with their hearts, like with their open arms,
Yeah.
and the people around you will always surprise like how Bobby can talk with someone like and how they're talking like a close friends, like they're talking about they're
Yeah.
sharing their personal story, life story, love story, like what is that flair in you? Like I'm asking you, like what you think is that thing like you got which others don't have, that you can have someone so much open to you.
Good question. And I kind of mentioned on the TED Talk, but I would say that number one is my willingness to share vulnerability.
Mm,
So I'm willing to share my struggles openly with people, even if they're 20 years younger than me. It doesn't matter, and I don't know them very well, but I'm willing to share it openly. So I'll say, yeah, I remember being 25 and struggling with this, and I remember one time I got fired, and I remember one time I screwed this up and I failed here. I'm willing to talk about those things, and by doing so, they're like, wow, if you want to talk about this stuff, I'm willing to talk. I mean, Brené Brown in her research shows us that sharing vulnerability creates deeper, more personal connection. So that's one. And the second thing is just, by doing so, how I talk and my energy that I have, I can create a really, really comforting, supportive, and trustful environment with people, no matter who they are. And then the third thing I do is I ask very pointed questions that get to the heart of the matter. And but I do in a way that doesn't come across as intrusive or offensive. I do in a way where, look, here's my struggle. You're struggling with this too, and next thing you know, we're having this really deep, powerful conversation. And so I think, but it really comes down to, for me, the vulnerability piece. Because if you look at like my social media posts on LinkedIn,
yeah.
Instagram, and whatnot, I'm willing to talk about my problems. I talk about my financial problems. I talk about my health problems. I talk about my body image and weight. I talk about mental health. I talk about all these things very openly.
Mm,
And some people are like, why would you talk about those things? Well, because I want to let people know that I'm human. Because when you
you're
let
not
people know
perfect.
you're human, then
Yeah.
you're more likely to increase the humanity of connection between you and somebody else.
Yeah, but I think the reason here is that people don't want to show their vulnerability is that I think this is a sign of weakness. Many would say maybe that's why they don't want to talk vulnerability. Like, okay, like you said, you are open to share your struggle story with strangers, or you're open to share your financial problems. Uh, so you think like this is a very important part. Like if you can show your weakness to the strangers, that can be very helpful. You think?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it a weakness. What I would say is I would call it honesty, right?
Yes.
Transparency, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a weakness to say that I struggle with body image. It's not a weakness to say that I'm overweight. It's
Mm,
being honest about what we go through as humans in our lives. And so, I mean, that's a strength to be able to talk about those things in an open manner. And most people are not able to do that, mostly because they haven't met someone like me. And so when they meet people like me who will talk with the stuff and show care and support and empathy and compassion, they're more likely to open up too. Now, some people take longer. Some people have a wall that's built up because we're all we're all humans from our experience. All of us have pain and damage in our lives. We all have things that we've struggled with, and so some of us have bigger walls than others. And for some, that wall takes longer to break through, and for others, it's easier. But I think that if you keep having those deeper conversations, then I
yeah.
think it's going to be better for the world in general.
No, I really love it. Like because I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and so many people like when you see their Instagram profiles, I think this is very common. Like they want to show their perfect life, right? Like they want to show that they are perfect or they are living a perfect lifestyle. And I noticed that in couple of months, like for my Instagram account, I wanted to show everything like that was I was doing. If I did something wrong, I shared on the story. Okay, I messed up. This is it, and I start getting the engagement messages because the people who really care about that, they approach me. If we just I before that, like when always post my perfect post, I just got likes and things. So I think like this is a really good, you can, because the connections I got from those stories, those posts are very genuine. I think this is really a good
Yeah,
opportunity
yeah.
and
And the
good
other thing to
way.
keep in mind that the other thing to keep in mind is that human storytelling is fantastic, and human stories are the ones that connect best. But if you look at all the best human stories of life, inspiration certainly is part of it. I achieved this. I climbed Mount Everest. I went into space. I did
Yeah,
this. But usually the best stories are the ones that take them on the hero's journey where things go down and then up. So it's like, oh, here's what I struggled with. Oh my God, and then finally I came through it. There you go. If you look at the best stories, they do both. They show the vulnerable, difficult challenges, and then they come back to that inspirational part at the end with the lesson learned. So there's the conflict, the struggle, and there's the resolution. So those are the best stories. And so some people just share the end or the inspiration, which is fine. Hey, look at me, I made $1 million. Good for you. But if you tell the story of how you got there and how you didn't have $1 million, then I think it's far more resonant with people.
so to love it.